opportunity for kids to work on not only the values of the coin, so you have pennies, dimes, nickels, but also the difference between counting by ones and skip counting by fives and tens. So you'll ask them what each of these coins is worth, and luckily these are nice, crisp, clean images, and they're all heads. And so you'll count the coins row by row, and then only for the pennies, not for the dimes or nickels, you'll ask how much money is there in all. And they should notice the kind of one-to-one correspondence between you have this many pennies and that's the same number of cents. Then you'll count by tens. You'll do the decade counting, which should be obviously a major review for kids. Should be pretty quick. And then nickels, which we've had less practice with, counting by fives. But you can also talk about the relationship between 5 and 10 and how there are 2 5s in every 10, and so there are half as many cents for the same number of dimes and nickels. So if you have 5 dimes and 5 nickels, you have 25 cents for nickels and 50 cents for dimes, so it's exactly half because you would need twice as many nickels. You can kind of talk about the relationship between those two. And then when you get to the application problem, Kiana has 6 fewer goldfish than Tamara. Tamara has 14 goldfish. How many goldfish does Kiana have? The kids will have to realize, obviously, that this is a comparison problem, and they'll need to subtract. So they'll also need to subtract across a 10 because they're subtracting from 14. So they'll need to know that they have to, they're going to have to break apart that first 10 from the 14. And they can't just subtract from the 4 and the 14. So that should be a good practice again for some place value work. And then the mini lesson is a big review with 10 more and 10 less, and 1 more and 1 less. And having kids notice what happens to the tens place and the ones place when you add this 1 more or take away 1, or when you add 10 more or you take away 10. And they should notice when you're adding 1, you're only changing the ones place, and when you're adding tens, you're only changing the tens place. And so this is obviously something we've hit quite a few times, both in My Math and Engage New York. An interesting kind of vocabulary to be aware of is the suggestion of 1 more and 1 more 10, and making sure kids don't get tripped up on that. That if you're asking 1 more, you're asking for 1 more 1, not 1 more 10. And so you'll have kids draw 72, and you're adding 10 more, and you'll notice what they do. Are they adding the quick 10, or are they drawing 10 blocks? And the vast majority of kids should be drawing the quick 10s and knowing if you're adding 10 more, you just add that quick 10.